Man, guys, I kind of wish I had Jerome Powell's phone number so he could give me a hint where things are going because I'm getting mixed signals here and this thing could go either way tomorrow. We have the dollar that's up on your screen right here. Looks like it might want to curl over on this MACD, and this thing has been on a monster rip. So, and it hasn't really come back. We got that one test here, but it looks like it wants to pull back, meaning we could see a pop in the market. But after I start to think about that, I go, okay, let's look at yields. Yields look like they want to pop higher. They're coming up into this unknown area, and we're about to maybe get a closing bar above this high that I told you to be fearful of. So that's telling me that, oh, actually the market wants to go down, but then I can switch over to the VIX and see we got this big topping tail on from our 50 on the daily. And the thing I always say is we need to close above that in order to get volatility back in this market. But instead, we have a big spinning tail there, and we have not crossed on the MACD. So we have to see where this thing is going to go tomorrow. And overall, we want to pay attention to all scenarios, so we're going to get into those right now. Let's tackle the 10-year yield real quickly. We are coming back up into that unknown area. That big wick you saw was apparently a glitch. Sus. But apparently was a glitch, but now we are seeing that surge up into that unknown area that we need to be fearful of. The only thing that's kind of making me question it is the TLT, but it looks like actually I didn't see, we actually do have a red impression on the histogram here for the MACD on TLT. So this could hint at us that we are going to see those rates raise, and we are possibly going to see TLT come down into that level. The only thing I would say for TLT is it probably needs to hold this low here. If it can hold that low by the time of the announcement and then start to recover, then we won't be getting that, maybe won't be getting that crash necessarily. We mainly want to be paying attention to the SPY, and we have this continuation triangle. And early on in the day, we started to cut through the bottom of this, which I told you to be very scared of. But when it happens before the event, most of the time it's a fake out, so I really was not worried when we were down here. I genuinely thought it would be bought back up, and that's exactly what happened. So the scenarios I see playing out from this are either tomorrow we get a little excitement and then Jerome slaps our hand and then we break out of this consolidation completely now with a closing bar on the daily. And then the other scenario, which I think is the most likely scenario, is we come up into our gap fill over the next 2 days or so, and then we start to see that break to the downside. A little bit cautious, but if you do see the top of this start to break, you can look for some kind of retest and maybe play that to the upside on the bull case. Apple is actually showing us some strength, and if you were subscribed, we called that this thing would break out to the upside, and then yesterday I actually told you we're probably looking for some kind of structure in here that actually would look something like this to spring load us higher. I don't necessarily know if we have enough time. I do still think Apple's price will be mainly dependent on what Jerome Powell says in that press conference and what the Fed rate decision is. I think that you could look from a swing trading perspective. You are above the 200 way down here. And then you're also having a firm bar above the 9-day moving average. Now you're just looking, is that MACD going to cross? Am I going to get above 50 on my RSI center line? If that does happen and we see a bar, we could see this thing rip for a few days and get up into this zone, possibly fill this gap by the end of September, and then maybe have the rug pulled. That would be the bullish case. The bearish case is tomorrow, maybe people get excited. We come up into our some of our gap resistance on this first gap right above us, and then we just see that start to tank, and then maybe we get some ground in our support zone, and then that goes down, and we meet up with that 200 in the near future. Okay, now we're going to move over to Tesla on an hourly, and we did say that this thing is going to pull back, and it pulled back even more, and we just noticed that we are heading to the bottom of our channel here, and we shouldn't be too scared unless this gets a daily close outside of this channel. So the fact that we are holding up right in here, we could see another little drop in here, and maybe that's enough to spring load us to the upside. But once again, that would be a bullish case if we're able to hold this and then extend higher. That would be your bullish case. But what could end up happening is people do get excited throughout the day. So you're going to want to be paying attention to how people are feeling throughout the day. But if people do get excited, say we come way up here, I would genuinely be looking for some bad news to crash below that. But overall, all we can do is pay attention to price. If we do see a daily close outside of this, what that's going to do is it is going to curl over our MACD. Okay, that's going to curl over this MACD soon, and then we're going to see some bad news, and we could go all the way down to somewhere around 207.42 by mid-October. This is why it's confusing, and I'm just going to be paying close attention tomorrow because the VIX is coming off of the 50 once again, which normally is a sign that when it does it a few times, notice it does it once, twice, 3 times, it closes below it, then we start to see a drop off. So now we have once, twice, maybe this will be the 3 times, and then we start to go below it. We just don't know, so I'm going to be just paying attention to that data. One thing I did notice on the VIX, so even though this is a bullish signal, was, I believe it was an hourly. If I pull this MACD up on an hourly and we just look at both the MACD and the RSI, we can actually see possibly a little bit of a double top. You know, we have a, well, I guess it would be a little bit of more of a divergence. We have a high and a higher high. Meanwhile, on the MACD, we have a low and a lower low, and that actually does show as well on the RSI. And a lot of the times, at least a couple weeks ago or a week ago when I showed you guys the 30-minute, it pops up on the 30-minute, and we saw the reaction last time. We can't bank on that, though, because all he has to say is we're going to raise rates today, and then boom, all of it goes the opposite way on you. So I just want to be paying attention. I might even get out of any kind of trades before the event so that I can react afterwards. The main takeaway for today is to be open to all scenarios tomorrow. If we do see a pop higher, that means that we could be in a bad spot for that news to be bad. But overall, we just want to react after that news comes out. I'm not going to be guessing, and I suggest you don't be guessing. Let's just look how the market digests whatever comes out around 2 to 2:30, and then react from there and try to make the best move we can with that information now with us. I hope you guys have a good trading day tomorrow. Make sure to trade like water, all right? Let's move around those rocks. Hope you guys have a great night. Good luck. Peace.